Hello, and welcome. Thanks for being with us on a great Saturday morning. Welcome to our leadership retreat, the 15th for AEDAP. My name's Trevon. I'm the new communications director, and our board is going to introduce themselves shortly. Thank you.
Great. We're happy that you can join us in this 15th annual leadership retreat. It's again a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to host for you this remarkable event. My name is Lindor-Latortue, and I want to welcome you to AEDAP 15th annual leadership retreat. We would like to welcome especially all of you who join us on our social media platform. Welcome, and we are glad that you can join us this morning. We're excited that you can be with us for a special Saturday morning because your presence, along with all those who are with us, is important this morning. The Association of Exchange and Development of Partnership is happy that you are here. I'm once again honored to be with you this morning, and it's a pleasure for AEDAP to welcome you, to share its vision, to reveal its mission to you this morning. For those of you who have been with us for the past 15 years, we say thank you for your loyalty and your commitment. And those who join us for the first time, we welcome you.
Oui, en tout cas, Guitel, it's your time.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Flo, et puis mes compliments. So I want to start by saying congratulations. And this is not the first AEDAP event that I have attended. So I commend you for continuing, particularly at a time when things are very challenging. And Bernard, tout ça dire, d'accord. Parfois,
OK.
Pour me donner un petit background, moi, je suis rentrée ici aux États-Unis, j'étais très jeune, j'étais 11 ans. Mes parents, moi, étaient toujours voulu pour me créer connexion avec Haïtiens. So pour cela, I am very unique in many ways. I love Haiti, and I will always love Haiti. But formation, c'est ici aux États-Unis. Un point que je faire dans la conversation, je dis à ces 3 points. Et puis, je commencé par une quote que je vive pour lui. It's a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. It says, "You must be the change you want to see in the world." Qui veut dire que nous ici, aux États-Unis, que nous en France, que nous Haïti, changement que nous voulons commencer avec nous-mêmes. Et je pense que c'est une fondation que AEDAP fait dans garder tête tout. Faut commencer avec tête tout d'abord. So, l'organe n'a parlé de nous pas contre qui ça que communauté haïtienne a besoin. Et je suis d'accord pour le fait que tout le monde a fait même bagaille. Je me souviens 2 ans de ça. Je suis allée en Haïti visiter avec Marie, l'arrivée, où tout le monde a vendu même bagaille là. Où tout le monde a fait même bagaille là. Ce qui veut dire que une série de l'autre bagaille que le monde a besoin, pas qu'à joindre. Parce que there is this whole issue of duplication. After the assessment is done, when the assessment is done, it's okay, this is what we have. This is what we don't have. This is what we can get here. This is what we cannot get here. That assessment is done, but people ignore what they saw. So you build on those assets. Qui veut dire que regardez, surtout ici, au conseil de organisation, tout le monde fait même bagaille là. Tout le monde, you pas close the gap. You have to close the gap. If there is a need, for example, right now, everybody is collecting medical supplies. Everybody is collecting certain things for the Haiti relief, but we're not looking at some of the things that we don't have. And I'll give you an example. M'gon l'hôpital qui contacte moi, say we want to help. this is how we want to help. We want to give diapers. We want to give formula. We want to give products that will benefit the children, but somebody else said, we're not collecting that. We're only collecting medical supplies, but nobody thought about the children. We have babies who do need diapers, who do need. So the duplication that we see in the Haitian community, it's one that is preventing us from moving forward. Just like Laura où est toute machin yo avant même bagay la, au point de vue de service, au point de vue de collaboration en pile fois, we don't build on what each other have, which brings me to my next point, leadership. Leadership, when you're a leader, you don't have to be in charge. You don't have to be the one à la tête. Mais il y a pression communauté pa nou, hein? Tout le monde vle se yo qui pour à la tête. I'll give you an example. We have an individual who wants to help Haiti. That individual said, we're going to do an event, we're going to raise money, and I'm going to give that money to the Haitian organization that I know of because I don't know Haiti. But then again, I have my people saying, well, this person is not Haitian. Why should we have to go to this person without looking at the help that our people need, without looking at the help that we can deliver? So there are times we say, okay, everybody has to come to my organization. Everybody has to come to me without really looking at the people who need. What I see, lorsque frère à sœur en Haïti besoin aide, pas qui moun k'ap bay aide là, provided we could get them the help. Que ce soit c'est un tel, que ce soit c'est un tel par les mains, que ce soit, it's not about us. It's about the people that we are helping. So sometimes we've got to take ourselves out of the equation. And it's not about us. It's really about the people we serve. It's about the people who need the help. And sometimes I think perhaps it goes back to culture, mais encore tout le monde vle se chef, tout le monde vle se yo qui à la tête, pas gen assez indien. Parce que les pour gen follow-up là, parce que tout le monde se chef, pas gen follow-up. Qui veut dire follow-up là, you gotta pull your sleeves and do the dirty work to get the help to the people. So I think this is one of the things we learn here. Dans formation, nous ici, nous gardons être leader, être pas leader. Moi, songez que exécutif directeur organisation, le matin, bonheur, si moi ça a été, il pas prêt les gérants, il pas prêt les moun maintenance, la prenne, la pick it up. Qui veut dire there is a certain type of ownership we all have to take when it comes to serving the community. As servant leaders, we are about serving those in needs. We are about providing the necessary and not worrying about, who's doing what. But si nous collaborer, collaboration goes a long way. And I have to compliment Dr. Flor because I've met Dr. Flor many, many, many years ago. And she is the first one who says, we're no longer Miami. We're no longer Howard County. We're no longer Palm Beach County. We have got to build a collaborative relationship between Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. Those are the three counties in Florida with the most Haitian Americans and the most affluent Haitian Americans. Parce que l'on regarde Miami, nous regardons New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, everybody works together. And when you work together, you become more impactful. So I think we've got to kind of remove the geographical limitations that we place on ourselves, because again, as a people, we cannot afford to work in isolation. We've got to be able to pull from different areas so we have an impact. Being impactful is extremely important. It's not about doing things like Bernard, you said, spending all that money to look good, and then the real scholarship, which we're all about, we don't have the fund to give it. I think us as a people, we're all about how we look. We're all about the skills and seeing better. So collectivity is a lesson we need to build on. We have to do better, collective, because that's my soul.
Yo di gitel non-profit parlant politique. Mais kou e moun nan fin elu, tout non-profit ap ekri elu pour yo joindre grant. How do you clear this up for us?
Premièrement, il y a un point qui est très, très, très important. Et comme j'étais président Haitian American Democratic Club of Broward County, comme il y a une communauté, que among leaders, tout bagaille aux États-Unis, c'est politique. Il y a deux bagailles qui font la vie marcher aux États-Unis. Politique, l'argent. Nous, Haïtiens, politique, bon mauvais nom. Nous tout dit, nous parlons politique, qui veut dire que leur organisation dit, I am apolitical. Yes, you can be apolitical, but guess what? You have to maneuver the politics parce que plus grand organisation aux États-Unis, you met apolitical, but they do have lobbyists going to the politicians to get the money. They have constituents going to the politicians to get what they want. So I think you cannot be selective. You can be selective. You have to accept the fact that in order for you to thrive as an organization, it is really important to have those connections with politicians. Ou pas qu'à dire, OK, nous sommes démocrates, nous seulement promote cause démocrate. Ou pas qu'à faire ça. Ou pas qu'à dire, nous sommes républicains, nous promote cause républicain. Mais lorsqu'on groupe de monde que vous avez servi, you have a constituent that really benefit from certain values. We have to be able to say, okay, this is what our values are. We need people who are going to champion our cause, whether it is immigration, whether it is public education for our children, whether it is public health. C'est pas politique, non, mais c'est ça peuple nous a besoin. Ce qui veut dire qu'il faut manœuvrer le système politique là, de croire que service la vient joindre mon nom. C'est même quand le travail dans la communauté, tout le monde dit, madame politique, tout le temps c'est politique. But on dit, regardez, guess what? You elect your local elected official. When you pay your water bill, you're going to pay your water bill to a politician. Your children go to public school. You have to elect the right representative who is going to do right by your children who go, or by our children who go to public school. So life is politics, whether you're nonprofit, whether you are a member of the community, whether you are a leader, it is politics. And Bernard, you have raised such a beautiful point, which is another one of my soapbox. You have to invest in your community. Guess what? Si gon $100 pour bail, m'a manger lunch $25 par jour, par semaine, m'a fait ces sacrifices là. Faut nous apprendre ces sacrifices là. Si son rad nous pas acheter, we have to invest in our community and support the causes that benefit us collectively as a community. Again, the change begins with us. We have to leave our old ways. We're in the United States and we have to understand our voices is extremely powerful right now. If we don't use our voice and we're saying, pana politique, you're not loving yourself, you're not loving your family, and you're not loving your community. So again, that's one of the big things that I want to talk about. we're not also a community that is philanthropic. Philanthropic, perhaps in Haiti, so chez le grand-mère t'a fait œuvre, c'est à l'église, by sous, by l'argent, by ceci, by cela. That was one way. Mais ici, aux États-Unis, it's a whole different level. Get 5, 10 of your friends. If you have a candidate you're supporting, if you have a cause you're supporting, c'est nous chaque bay $25. N'a collecté $100, n'a bay pour cause ça. So I think we have a wonderful opportunity to be powerful here. By being powerful here in the United States, we will do so much better helping our people in Haiti because we can make the politicians here accountable. And if they are not accountable here, we're not going to elect them, so that whatever policies, whether it's public policies, foreign policies, they have to understand that we are a powerful voice. And the only way to do that is through politics. So one of the last points that I would like to make is that our people is probably one of the most resilient people that I know. We fall, we get back. When we get back, we have to get back to be stronger. And that strength does not come from each, every one of us. That strength does not come from my friend, my neighbor. That strength comes from all of us as a community. And whether I like you or I don't like you, it's irrelevant. As leaders, we can't take these things personal and hinder the progress that we can make as a community. We've got to look above and beyond the personal feelings and say, I am out helping the community, and this is, I'm going to work with everybody. So those are some of the points that I would like to highlight. And again, to recap, we have to eliminate duplication of efforts. The second thing is that leadership. Leaders come in all forms. We don't always have to be at the head, but we've got to be able to tap into others' strength and ensure there is succession, because a lot of times, if that succession does not take place, then the legacy really does not materialize. And the third thing, politics is everything. It is in everything that we do. And our people need to embrace the term politics. And I do understand many families suffered in politics, particularly back in the 60s when there was a huge migration of Haitians. So some people must remove that from their head. Here, it's two things that matter: politics and money. And as a people, we've got to be able to invest in both.
Thank you, Gitel. Everybody's so pleased. We do have an orchid for you too, but you are virtual, then you will receive it on a one-on-one. We love you, Gitel, and thank you. And we are Tri-County. When people ask us where is AEDAP address, we've been Tri-County. We had event at Rebar, we had event at Casa Chopet, and we're still looking for the money, but it seems that we're doing good after 15 years. Thank you, Gitel.
Thanks for the work that you do, that AEDAP does. And my only plea to all of you, because you're all community leaders, let's put personal feelings aside and let's all work together for the betterment of the Haitian community. Thank you.
We'll have a session of reconciliation. AEDAP is working toward that, because feelings is still part of it, because many feelings are part of today that make it so successful. We love you. We love everyone who took time for being here today. And 12:30 is the time that you have given us. And I love our timekeeper, because Dr. Shu said, if I don't speak at 12:30, at 6:40, I will be on a plane. And now it's her time. Clap, please. We love you, Gitel.
Thank you. Much love to you as well. And I'm on my way to Patrick's funeral. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you for being the backup. Yes.
All right, my dear. Bye-bye.
We love you. Okay, guys, hang in there with us. The team here that is live will have some food around 1 p.m. You guys that are virtual will put some music for you. But meanwhile, you know, you chose to be virtual. There's a price to it. And Presto sponsor chose to be virtual because he's in diet. And some of our business people, that's your choice. Now, who will introduce Dr. Schultz? You know, it's not me. I'm never the leader on this event. Okay, go ahead.
Well, next summer is Dr. Schultz, and we're so happy that you're with us, Dr. Schultz. Dr. Schultz, nous connaissons lead un pile organisation non profit. And who were a pile problem. You lead a lot of non-profit organizations. You see a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Can you tell us what are the 3 problems in organization that you see that is impacting us as Haitians? Is it our culture, or what do you think it is? Just so what is you know, in your perspective.
Premièrement, ma remercier nous pour l'invitation, Sarah. Et c'est la première fois que je participe dans leadership conference avec AEDAP.
Right.
But that's not the first time we've been collaborating.
Of course.
It's been over a decade that we've been collaborating with AEDAP, particularly when we're doing our Thanksgiving brunch.
Right.
And many other things in the community. My good friend and sister is always there to help lay some information, enlist volunteers to help us in all that. It's a real pleasure to be here. Yes, I've been spearheading a lot of non-for-profit organizations. I do own a non-for-profit organization. The name is Schultz Foundation. I've seen a lot. I don't mean that I know a lot. I'm simply going to share with you my perspective with the hope that you guys will have a chance to think of what we're going to be discussing today. First, I would like to invite the audience and the internaute to please join me in a visualization exercise. What I would like for them to do is to stay quietly and think. I would also like them to probably write some notes on a piece of paper.
Sure.
Or to simply close their eyes. Now I'd like them to visualize a community that they care about, a community that they love. I'd like them to visualize, to travel around that community, drive around, feel the community, understand why they love that community, why they care about that community. I'd like them to feel, to drive around, to see the people in that community, the way they live, the way they go to work, what type of business exists in that community. And I also like them to remember why they like that community. I would also like them to see the role a non-for-profit organization would play in that community that they love. Why they think a non-for-profit organization would help. At this point, I'd like them to take 2 seconds to think, to visualize, to internalize, what it be a community, a neighborhood, a county. 2 seconds to see why you love a community, why you are interested in that community. 2 seconds. And by thinking about that, you're going to realize, yes, there's a lot of things that could be done. And by thinking, you can say, well, that is your choice to get involved or to support or not. This exercise is to simply help them and to illustrate why non-for-profits are important in the community. And that brings us to our point today. How culturally we are helping or not our non-for-profit organizations. Because if you love a community if we like a community, if we are interested in the community, and we see what we would like to see happen when we're traveling, when we're driving around, we see the places that we'd like to go to, we see the places that we wish we could go, we see the opportunities that some are missing. And we see also the non-for-profit organizations' role in that community. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, or probably thinking of some names on non-for-profit organizations that you can remember, we can think about. And some of you may know a lot of non-for-profit organizations. Some of you may not know, but don't worry about that. Whether you know a lot or not, you know the importance of their involvement in a particular community, because non-for-profit organizations, they bring hope, they bring care to a community. And generally, those non-for-profit organizations, they are made of people that are very caring and they are passionate about their community. And they'd like to make a difference in their community or in the world. Whether they have inabilities to collect funds, whether they are having issues to keep, for example, staff, maybe they are having still financial constraints, but they are working day in and day out to help a community for sometimes less money and without being understood. Research saw that 81% of non-for-profit do not have a retention policy. That means sometimes they may be discouraged. Sometimes they have other issues that preclude them from helping their own community or the community that they love. So they have a lot of uncertainties. When analyzing our Haitian American non-for-profit organization, it is safe to say that whether we are considering the non-for-profit organization in general sense of the word, or we are zeroing in on our NGOs, they're going through the same problems. They have the same transactional and relational issues. Transactional, I mean, they have employees that they need to pay. They have goods they need to buy. They have people that they need to see. They have networking issues and whatnot. The relational issues that both organizations, whether they are Haitian or non-Haitians, they also have relational factors. Are we maintaining our networks? Are we making friends with a lot of people that could help us? So even if we are producing the same output, we are viewed differently. We have different outlooks. We think differently. And people are considering us differently. Why? Because of our culture. Our culture means our norm. What do we expect from non-for-profit organizations? Because we may love, as I said before, we love a community, a city, a neighborhood. We see the importance of non-organization and what an organization could do to help that community. We see that the differences, we see how we are viewed in this community, how people consider us. I'm here to tell you, whether you are Haitian non-for-profit organizations or you are from the other cultures, we are going through the same thing. We are producing the same output. We require the same assets, the same human resources, the same strategies. So to have a better understanding of the importance or the influence of our culture in this non-for-profit arena, that's why we went through this visualization, because I wanted to bring it home for you to visualize a community that you love, a community that you care about. And when you care about that community, now you're going to see how, and that's the point of our discussion today, how our culture will influence the way we view or we interact with our Haitian NGOs. For this, we're going to cover 3 points. We're going to see the support that the Haitian non-NGOs or NGOs receive in the community. We're going to see, number one, the support the Haitian NGOs receive from the community. Number two, we're going to cover employment engagement. And number three, we're going to analyze the fundraising challenges. Now, I'll tell you, whether you are creating a vision, you are leading a mission, or you are feeling a need that you realize exists, there is a passion that accompany and hard work that accompany all of these organizations. And particularly the Haitian American organizations. So how do we support culturally? How do we support our Haitian NGO? Do we support the Haitian NGOs? I would say we do not. And that is because of our societal culture. Societal culture, as I mentioned, is our norm, our expectation. What are we expecting? What do we think? 18 points. The Haitian non-profit organization, they have an issue to get skill-based voluntarism, meaning when you're from Haiti, when you're of Haitian descent, you have a certain level of acumen. You are a professional and you'd like to volunteer. Chances are you're not going to choose a Haitian American organization to volunteer. Some of you may, but it's not common. Why? Because we can think, well, we're not going to have the level of professionalism that we are accustomed to. C'est pas forcément vrai. En pile dans nous-mêmes, nous gagnons information, nous gagnons knowledge, nous gagnons éducation, et puis nous disons, nous ne pouvons pas aller volontaire dans la compagnie haïtienne parce que nous avons besoin de rencontrer de préférence l'autre nationalité qui est capable de permettre que nous avancions, nous avons besoin de connexion, etc. Et puis nous parlons volontaire dans la compagnie haïtienne, dans l'organisation haïtienne, parce que checkmark ça, nous pas gagnons. Et je souffre de ça, nous sommes capables de gagner de préférence en pile jeunes et l'autre nationalité qui viennent volontaire dans la compagnie haïtienne. Alors que c'est une raison nous sommes capables de supporter la communauté haïtienne. C'est là nous avons knowledge, nous avons éducation, nous avons expérience, nous allons servir par exemple dans le board ou bien aller aider dans ça que l'organisation a besoin. Deuxième point, côté que nous pas peut-être dit supporter la communauté haïtienne, c'est parce que en pile fois leadership là que madame Guitel a parlé tout à l'heure, nous tous voulons faire même bagaille, mais en plus de fait que nous faisons même bagaille là, nous pas share network, nous pas share information, nous pas we don't call on the carpet other non-for-profit organizations asking them to debate a point. If we come up with a need, if we come up with some information, and we can call others to say, wait a minute, this is what I realized, this is what the study revealed. So why don't we come together to see how we can address that need? No, nous préférons pas cher information, nous kembel pour nous-mêmes, et puis n'a pas annoncé, tada, telle organisation a fait tel bagage for the first time in the history of our nation, and we are taking both our stomach to say we are first, as opposed to bringing people together to think of an idea that we realize is very necessary to a community, and we say, okay, we are not going to share it. So when you don't share, people don't take ownership in what you're doing. So therefore, you may lack the support that you would need. Not only we're talking about, as the first point, we have the skills, but we're not lending the skill to our Haitian non-NGOs. The second point we just mentioned is the fact that our leaders, our non-for-profit leaders, sometimes, I'm not generalizing, saying they are not sharing their resources, they're not sharing their points of view with the community so that they can have buy-ins. And the third, Americans don't serve on Haitian boards, neither are they invited to participate. They don't come to boards because they are not going to meet, as I mentioned before, the haves or the elite, intellectual elite that they'd like to meet, and to their demise. And also, they are not accepted because the leaders, I'm not generalizing again, they're saying, well, I'm not going to invite Haitians because when they come in, they're going to gossip, they're not going to work, they don't like to volunteer, and they're not going to, I would rather deal with other nationalities. So it goes both ways. Not only we are not volunteering, some of us, but also the leaders are not welcoming us. They'd rather weed us out. So that's the first point, community support, that we need to work on. The second point that I would say, the second influence of societal culture on Haitian American NGOs is employment engagement, employees' attitude. You don't have the community support, or you're striving to have more community support. But the second information, the second point is the employee engagement. And might I say, a strong non-profit sector is key to thriving community. And I hope all of you here listening you would remember and repeat after me. A strong non-for-profit sector is key to thriving communities. Again, a strong non-for-profit sector is key to thriving communities. Thank you. So we're going over the influence of societal culture on Haitian American NGOs and employment engagement. So first, I'd like to repeat after Peter Drucker. You need to put the right people in the right position. That might bring community support as well, to my first point. Putting the right people in the right position, it doesn't mean that you have a cousin, you have your in-laws, and you'd like to give them a job in your organization because you can pay them better and they can have more perks working in your organization. They can come late, they can go on vacation for a longer time and whatnot. So if you do not put the right people in the right position, you're going to have employment, you're going to have low employee morale, and they're going to start talking about your organization. And on the other hand, work attitude is key. Sometimes we're talking about employment engagement. They are not engaged because they don't have the support of leadership. And also, our culture is holding us back. We like to gossip, talk about the service that they are rendering. You might find somebody coming to you in a non-for-profit organization, and the senior that comes in doesn't know how to write or doesn't know how to speak English very well. But by the last name, you realize that person is somebody's mother, somebody's grandmother. When you go home, you're going to talk about the service that you provided to that particular person. And the daughter is XYZ and the mother doesn't know how to write. This is not necessary. And when you do that, you're not going to have people coming to you for service because they're afraid that you're going to talk about them. This is part of our culture that we need to work on. We need to thrive, continue to thrive in the community. We need to stop the gossiping. We need not to be so judgmental, which is a part of our culture. We need to come to work on time, because when we're working for a non-for-profit organization or for-profit, and for an Haitian organization, we expect that person to understand, etc. We also need to make sure there is a confidentiality policy and engagement. Why? Because it's part of our culture to talk about what's happening in the office and who came in for service. So-and-so is on food stamp, so-and-so has TPS, so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. So we need to work on that as a second point, employment engagement, employee engagement and attitude, so that we can support or better support our non-for-profit organization. Remember, a strong non-for-profit sector is key to thriving communities. The third influence of societal culture on Haitian non-for-profit is our fundraising efforts. We need, as I mentioned before, our community support. We need better employee engagement, employee attitude, but we also need money. As I mentioned before, we're working long hours. We have a group of dedicated people. We've seen the communities that we'd like to live in. We see why and understand why we love those communities, but we need money to provide the services that are needed in these communities. So after all, are we surprised that our Haitian NGOs cannot raise the funds at the level that is needed? And again, there is a why. Why? Because we destroyed the trust that could help them raise the funds. And on top of it, at the level that they need the funds. Why? Because we destroy it. We talk about them. We seem to thrive on fake news. If we don't hear it, we make it up. That is the part of our culture. We seem to be happy when we hear they talk about so-and-so on the radio, on television, and we are disseminating those fake news. And we are always comparing ourselves with Cubans, with other nationalities, because they cover for one another. They give you the best. They display the best. Remember, a strong non-for-profit sector is key to thriving communities. The third influence of societal culture on Haitian non-for-profit is our fundraising efforts. We need, as I mentioned before, our community support. We need better employee engagement, employee attitude, but we also need money. As I mentioned before, we're working long hours. We have a group of dedicated people. We've seen the communities that we'd like to live in. We see why and understand why we love those communities, but we need money to provide the services that are needed in these communities. So after all, in our case, unfortunately, not often, not all the time, but enough to put a dent into our support for our Haitian non-for-profit organizations. So we seem to be happy when we hear bad news, and this is a part of our culture. We have also a lack of diverse income stream. If we have problems raising funds, as I mentioned, it's because we need to build trust in the community, and to build trust, we need to have Haitians helping us, talk good about us, help us be on our boards, as I mentioned before, but we need to diversify the stream of funds. We only know about grants. If we don't have grants, we cannot provide the news. We relying, as Guylaine was saying earlier, on elected officials. Let's be kind to our Haitian non-profit organizations. Amen. Let's be kind so that we can encourage them. They can have the energy and encouragement to continue to identify the local partners, to serve the community, to find and attract the right people to help execute their mission. They know our cultures and our respective subcultures, because people from the South are different from people from the North. We have a lot of subcultures in our community. At times they are afraid, the non-for-profit are afraid of the candidaton. They end up doing the wrong thing, and they end up acting differently. Let's build trust and synergy around them. And lastly, again, a strong non-profit sector is key to thriving communities. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Strong partnership builds strong community.
Can you repeat it? Because that's your song for 15 years. Can you say?
Strong partners build strong communities.
Stay partner, solide, keep bâti, community solide. Okay.
And not only do this with trust.
Yes, yes.
Trust.
But si nou pa trust, we so tap la, ou pa pi mat. Okay, guys.
So they say.
Guys, from the virtual, you need to clap for Dr. Schultz. And as you can see, we are eating, and we are just sharing the food virtually with you, and we're telling you bon appetit. That's what happened when you are like Justin. Justin is our next presenter. Trayvon, take it away. Any comments for Dr. Schultz, please? Dr. Schultz.
You are right on.
Okay, you are.
Oh, thank you, Leonie. I appreciate it.
Okay, very good. Okay, and Trayvon?
I agree 100%, Dr. Schultz. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Marlene Bastien, thank you so much. Already, Trey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you're going to have more support after this 15 minutes, grosso modo. I hope I touched the points so that people can continue to support you, continue to support AEDAP, and also the Schultz Foundation.
And the beauty of it, if they go to the calendars, they will see all the organizations that they want to support. And that calendar's been there for 15 years. And we're going to let them see the display this year. Dr. Schultz, thank you again for your...
My pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay,
all right.
Very good.
Good.
Okay,
Continue.
Trayvon, take it away. Okay, guys, you virtually, we're just telling you that we're having good food. We're having legumes. We're having some griot. We're having chicken, poulet, c'est pour les créoles. Nous avons cabrit. Okay, c'est pour and we do it like that every year. Okay, Trayvon is trying to polish his Creole. Okay, take it away.
Great. Okay, so with your part of the presentation here, we want to talk about culturally, what impacts organizations' growth? You know, is it our parents? Is it seniors of the organization? Is it our own community? So if you could speak to that a little bit.
And why is it that as a leader for so many years, being the founder of Haitian Scholarship Funds and also Haiti First, that does he consider himself a leader when most of the meeting he's left out of them? We don't even see him in them. Then Justin gonna take us with some testimonial. Take it away, Justin.
Bon, premièrement, faut dire nous merci. Et puis, avant de commencer, il y a un bel poème pour Dr. Flo pour AEDAP. C'est en anglais lié. Parce que même si l'anglais m'a créé des ordres, depuis c'est là, et anglais, même si créé le bombard. C'est langue ça, m'a parlé bien. OK? Mais poème ça, c'est en anglais lié. Li, mon qui écrit poème là, c'est Wendell Berry. For the future, planting trees early in the spring will make a place for birds to sing. In time to come, how do we know? They are singing here now. There is no other guarantee that singing will ever be. L'autre bagage m'a dit encore des étapes avant de commencer, avant de répondre les questions. Non? Moi, je suis capable de dire, les AEDAP viennent avec slogan Strong Partnership, Build Strong Communities. Les femmes songer, il y a un plus gros cadeau et les ancêtres nous ont quitté pour nous. C'est tête ensemble, c'est force nous. M'dara dit, Dr. Flo, c'était un cadeau pour Haitian American Scholarship Fund. Et qu'on y a là, ils sont l'autre cadeau pour Haiti First. Et Dr. Flo, ils sont cadeau pour tout le monde dans la communauté et en Haïti. Moi, toujours dis un cadeau, c'est là que vous faites un objet, ou bien vous venez avec une idée, ou venez avec un slogan, tant que strong partnership, build community, tant ensemble, c'est force non. Les cadeaux, c'est là que vous acceptez cadeau ça. C'est là que vous appréciez et cadeau ça. C'est là que vous servez avec cadeau ça. Et moi, espérer cadeau ça, ou porter dans la communauté, il y a apprécié, il y a respecté, il y a servi avec. Beaucoup de là moi-même, pour me parler de leadership. Premièrement, son mot qui toujours paraît très fort, et spécialement expérience moins fait dans la communauté ça. Et faut me dire, Bernard, il y a un gros coup de chapeau parce que moi, j'ai un peu de chance pour nous chita la même organisation. Et Bernard, son nègre, moi, toujours respecté. Parce que monsieur son visionnaire lié et moi, respecté ça. Comme on a parlé de leadership, et moi-même, je suis leader, comme moi dit, c'est un mot qui est trop fort pour moi. Moi, je t'ai dit, et moi, j'ai plusieurs organisations dans la communauté, mais une des plus grosses organisations que je fondée, c'est Haitian American Scholarship Fund, que j'ai fondé en 2001. De 2002 à 2008, nous avons 38 bourses. Et je me dit, c'est seule organisation haïtienne-américaine dans tous les États-Unis qui était bas scholarship, quelle que soit la discipline participante choisie, et puis quel que soit dans qui état côté il te voulait aller, pas de gain l'autre encore. Et me dit 38 bourses ça, nous bail de 2002 à 2008, Actuellement, nous avons un docteur qui travaille dans Jackson Memorial Hospital. Nous avons aidé. Nous avons un nurse practitioner dans UM. Nous avons un infirmier dans UM. Nous avons un avocat que nous avons aidé qui gradué New York. Nous avons un docteur en pharmacie. Donc, si nous voulons laisser leadership, leader nous va être. Mais moi-même dis que ça c'est ça c'est plante nous t'a planté, c'est pieds bois nous t'a planté même avec AEDAP. Et me toujours dit chaque fois que m'a réfléchi de AEDAP, m'a réfléchi des missions de Dr. Flore. On a dit que nous t'a travail l'idée Dr. Flore, semble ça Dr. Flore pas même te en vote parce que grand monde parce que Dr. Flore. Donc Dr. Flore m'a dit moins féliciter pour bon travail ou fait pour leadership. Mais l'autre chose, comme je l'ai dit, là où garder le John Maxwell, leadership, c'est ça que vous faites. Vous faites avec tout cœur. Là que vous pas jamais garder, c'est what's in it for me. Dr. Flore, c'est what in it for us. Moi-même, leadership PAM, moi commencé la caille PAM. Et ma petite que nous qui j'aime commencer la caille PAM. Moi marié, j'ai 3 petites avec madame moi. Première petite moi qui sont petites filles, li fait bachelor dans health administration, li fait air traffic control, on a actuellement li fait MBL dans Nova. On a la travail dans le département langue dans un campus qui nous même chose. Deuxième petite moi c'est un garçon, li fait air traffic control tout. On y a là, li c'est flight attendant. On y a là, la dégager pour la faire pilote commercial. Troisième petite moi qui c'est un garçon, li gradué West Point. Li fait 2 voyages à Afghanistan. Il est arrivé dans le capitaine. Après ça, il a quitté, l'aller dans Kellogg University Chicago. Il fait 2 masters. Il a travaillé dans Accenture Strategy. Il a quitté, il a formé propre compagnie par qui c'est True Fiction. Nous-mêmes, nous avons checké True Fiction qui ça lié. Donc, on n'a pas besoin de retourner dans Haitian American Scholarship Fund encore. Je vais dire que moi, c'est le premier businessman comme un real estate broker en 1997 qui te prend 2 l'autre compagnie real estate, nous te mettons ensemble pour te faire MGM Capital Realty. Ça pas de jamais fait dans la communauté ça. Et Fondo le travail dans le leadership PAM sous direction et superintendant vous dit quoi au diable Marie-Jean-Philippe Moury. Là nous avons mené investigation, nous avons dans plusieurs écoles d'abord ici là dans high school yo haïtien pas de gain présentation. Nous avons mis une task force sous pied. Côté de temps en temps, nous avons rencontré avec les superintendants pour nous voir dans l'école, là où vont l'école, là où ils viennent dans l'école, si un haïtien qui vient, par exemple, un haïtien devant, qui peut pas laver. Nous disons ça, pas qu'à continuer comme ça. Fait qu'il y a un pile haïtien qui qualifié, qui peut avoir un assistant principal, qui peut avoir une principale, pas de gain ça. C'était très difficile pour des jeunes grand haïtiens, à part de Leslie Président, qui était principal. Et puis ensuite, le travail encore nous fait, nous avons gardé dans la communauté ça, côté, un paquet de politiciens qui ont grandi, un paquet de petits grains de ça toujours relève. Nous disons, nous, dans la communauté, pas même un pack pour faire fundraising pour candidat ça. Moi-même, Maître Caso, avec ancien consul François Guillaume, te met ton pacte sous pied, qui te relève citizen for better government. Il n'y a pas de cas avancé pour quelle raison? Parce que nous pas de support. Chaque fois nous faisons réunion, c'est 2 ou 3 qui réunissent. Et c'est même gens, ça tout, Haitian American Scholarship Fund, pas capable de continuer parce que nous pas de joindre support dans la communauté noire. C'est ça que moi-même, moi, toujours dit. Communauté noire, et bon, nous n'sommes pas d'accord avec, moi-même, c'est opinion PAM, c'est que Samuel, même déjà connaît, et Bernard, Dr. Flo, d'accord avec ça. Nous sommes une communauté qui peut grandir. Nous pas organiser nous en tant que communauté. Mais bon, plusieurs raisons. Un tremblement de terre qui est arrivé en 2010. Moi, songé dans une réunion qui était faite. Et puis, je me dit, bon, mes amis, tremblement de terre, c'est arrivé. Puisque c'est Boustabac nous, parce qu'on connaît, Boustabac sont bêtes noyées, c'est les mauvais temps, c'est les ça remettre ensemble. Nous-mêmes, c'est que ça nous-mêmes haïtiens. Je dis, bon, pour quelle raison nous pas préparer nous pour demain, si toutefois, une stratégie vous est arrivée, pour nous organiser, nous, laissez ça, c'est pas laisser nous pour le courir. Il y a plein de monde qui était couru derrière. Cyclone Mathieu passé, c'est même bagaille là. Mais cyclone ça crasé grand site là, c'est même bagaille là parce que pas gain organisation pas de AEDAP capchita ensemble pour nous faire un plan pour dire OK, mais ça n'a fait. Non. C'est une question de wasn't it for me? Besoin paraître. Chaque monde a demandé même bagaille là. Et tandis que si nous te organisons, nous, plusieurs organisations te chit ensemble, nous te déjà connaissons ce qui a passé dans le pays, comme AEDAP te déjà fait. AEDAP te connaît venu chita là, avec un paquet d'organisations qui sont dans la communauté, moi t'es allé et cavaillon. Mais ça moi. Qui ça n'a fait ensemble? Non. Pas que ça parce que nous pour grandir. Pour l'autre barrière encore, on a parlé de Haïti. Moi-même, moi, songé sous président Aristide, il était offert une position pour le 10e département. Pas ministre, pour me représenter le 10e département par ici. Je suis en Haïti. Je parle avec le ministre qui était relève. Je dis, me semble, mais qui j'ai pour ça fait? Je dis, si que nous pas mettre un bureau dans Florida, parce que nous n'avons pas besoin. Je ne suis pas d'accord avec, je ne vais pas faire. Nous finissons l'autre barrière, comme m'a dit nous-mêmes qui sont dans la diaspora. Et moi, toujours ri. Son réalité vraie. Là, par exemple, c'est diaspora qui, nous avons dit ça que, cap diriger Haïti. Moi, c'est comme Samuel. C'est l'agent de diaspora cap diriger en Haïti. Mais si c'est nous-mêmes dans la diaspora cap diriger l'agent en Haïti, cap diriger en Haïti. Alors, pour quelle raison que nous pas organiser nous? Là, par exemple, un gouvernement a fait un en Haïti, pour un groupe, là, nous, pas capable de chiter ensemble, pour nous mettre en rendez-vous pour nous parler avec eux. Moi, je prends un exemple. Mais Haïti First bâti une école dans l'Osier. C'est pas pour ça, les nous, côté me sortir. Depuis en 2019, jusqu'à présent, je n'ai pas foutu à visiter l'école là, parce que, à cause des matissants, parce que des problèmes d'insécurité. Mais si nous organisons vraiment en tant que communauté, nous ne pouvons pas accepter tout ça, un gouvernement à tolérer dans un pays. Nous ne pouvons pas tolérer parce que nous avons l'argent. Alors, nous qui sommes en Haïti, son seul bagage, c'est corruption. Il y a enrichi tête, enrichi famille, enrichi ménage. Si son garçon, il n'a pas de filles pour occuper. Ses cousins, cousines, l'argent, après aller de famille en famille. Et puis nous-mêmes, nous acceptons tout ça qu'a fait, parce que si nous sommes ses amis nous liés, ou bien nous besoin l'en besoin pour nous parler avec elle, et nous besoin l'elle venir entrer dans la communauté, aller nous inviter dans la communauté, nous faire petit groupe, nous parler avec elle, pour qu'elle ait des affaires nous, et puis nous parler des pays, nous parler des communautés. Moi-même, je toujours dis ça. Nous sommes une communauté qui beaucoup grandit. Les ancêtres nous ont quitté un cadeau pour nous, que c'est l'union fait la force, que tête en force et tête ensemble, c'est force nous. On nous pose tête nos questions. Qui ça nous fait avec cadeau ça? Nous on a mangé l'autre. Organisation, pas qu'acheter ensemble, excepté AEDAP. On va dire ça, nous avons un projet pour ça. Nous avons dit premier monde qui dit Justin, moi avec vous, mais ça n'a fait pour projet ça, et déjà offert pour ça avec nous, c'est Dr. Flo. Dr. Flo, pas chita avec quelque chose organisation. Il pas parler de l'autre organisation, et tandis qu'il y a une organisation parle. Donc, on pense nous-mêmes pour nous réfléchir. Il y a un monde qui n'est pas capable à aucun côté sans que nous pas organiser. Sans que nous pas chiter ensemble, pour nous planifier ensemble, pour nous réfléchir sur le même problème que nous avons confronté, et puis pour nous capables de venir avec une solution. Et ça fait Bernard, Dr. Flore, moi, respectez-nous encore, parce que Bernard, depuis que je connais Chita, nous rencontrons avec Bernard, le Sénègre, il n'a pas pensé des problèmes, il pensait des solutions. Et c'est comme ça que moi-même, et c'est comme ça que je grandis, et c'est comme ça que je me lève, moi, toujours abgoumé pour solution, mais pas problème. Et pour jouer une solution, il faut nous-mêmes nous capables de chita ensemble. Ou te gagner toute qualité de vision qu'on gagne, si vous pas faire action, ou pas besoin de parler de vision. Et je pense que ça, c'est un des plus gros problèmes que nous gagnons encore dans la communauté. Ça. Et je me dis, en pile monde dans la communauté, ça, tout, ils oublié la communauté. Ça. C'est une équipe monde qui te travaille pour faire la communauté ça arriver, côté arriver. Moi-même, quand je suis à la cap là, moi, j'étais volontaire pour US Catholic Conference dans New York. Vous voyez, Miami, depuis New York, on a fait l'école dans l'église Sainte-Thérèse. Moi, je viens de Miami 7 décembre 1980. On doit dire, nous, sans exagération, au moins entre 60 et 65% réfugiés haïtiens, tout passé la même. C'est ça l'haïtien qui est allé Porto Rico dans Ponce, les sénateurs Paul Hopkins, c'est fan des haïtiens, famille haïtien sur la mer, famille Kouamna, c'est un haïtien qui est allé Ponce pour la guerre haïtien ça yo. Dernier grain haïtien, immigration qui refusé la guerre dans Kouamna, 25 octobre 1982, c'était à Belle-de-Villiers, c'est moi qui était la guerre. Ça veut dire que la petite communauté, ça, si par exemple, un monde a fait une réunion, il a invité parce que je suis leader, moi, Rio. Pourquoi ça fait Rio? Parce que la communauté, ça, moi-même là, depuis 16 décembre 1980, et ma fait nous connaît Biwom, il était dans 499 Biscayne Boulevard, côté Bessaillé, journée jeudi à là. OK? Washington DC, en pile dans nos pays, ticket avion, payer hôtel pour le lobby pour la guerre réfugiés, bon ici là. Et tout business pendant pile besoin d'un docteur, un avocat, réfugiés qui mettent la dans la poche, côté les m'a fait une activité pour Haitian American Scholarship Fund, une organisation qui a avocat, qui a docteur, qui a infirmière, qui a inspecteur, qui a ingénieur, qui a criminal justice. Yo youn, en pile là-dedans, maintenant à peu près toi, qui toujours là supporter nous. Yo, yon tap même bay $100, $75 pour participer nos activités. Et tandis que moi, justement, nous avons parlé avec nous, quelle que soit l'activité qu'a faite dans la communauté, ça, qu'il était Shirley, qu'il était Anna, qu'il était Femme, quelle que soit l'organisation qu'a faite la communauté, ça, Justin toujours là. Nous devons continuer négliger pas aller, et ce n'est pas faute moi, c'est parce que nous avons priorité, nous sommes obligés de fermer, et pas obligé, non, nous sommes fermé office moi pour nous occuper maman, parce que c'est moi celle qui gagne.
Justin, avec França, c'est au même seul que les gagnait. Eh bien, c'est comme ça que Trayvon just show me that your time is up. But the beauty of today, as we do for 15 years, is that it is recorded. Anybody, any comments on Justin? I see some comments. Alain wanted to say something when you said communauté pas grandi, but Alain wanted to say something. You said nous grandi, mais nous grandi. We grew up, but the wrong way. Okay. Anyway, then that was Alain's comment. Thank you again, Justin, for your leadership. Thank you again for being part of the calendar. We're gonna clap for you for your consistency for 15 years. You never miss one event, from the first event of 500 people and up and more. No, that room was packed. Alain was packed. Everybody was there. And also many also come and ate also and did not pay. You remember that? And we had to call Dr. Udi Moise for rescue. Then some of those of our culture also, and that we want to bring, that way we have a real reconciliation and we build together. Okay, we see you. We want to listen, hear from you.
Okay, greetings everyone. It is a pleasure to join tonight. This afternoon. This is my first time here, Dr. Flor. I know you repeated over and over, but moving forward from today on, I will be present, Harkoff will be represented, so that you can mention us as well. So it is an honor to hear.
But you're gonna see it. Harkoff has been there, and you are part of the community calendar from the time of Cycle, from 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Madam Chair, for keeping the touch. And also, one of our sponsors was François Guillaume, also Ralph Latortue. We honored over 70 artists under the leadership of Ralph Latortue. Yeah, Madam Chair, any other words?
Just to say thank you. I learned a lot tonight. There's so many things I didn't know about the Haitian American community. And I like the fact that you present this platform and give us the opportunity to collaborate and come together so we can make a bigger difference in our own community.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We also want to acknowledge a sponsor. We don't want to say the vice chairman of ACOP because he's a sponsor for 15 years. Is he still virtually, Princeton Jongleur?
So still here.
Princeton, some words? You want?
Yeah, Princeton.
I'm still here, Dr. Flor. As you know, I've been a constant member of AEDAP and a great supporter of what you do. And one thing I always say, if the community had followed you since the beginning, maybe we could have a better community, because everything that you touch on since first time we met, 2007, 2008, I see them going on. But again, I applaud you for today. I learned a lot from those speakers, and I think there's a lot of things that I myself can learn from them too.
AEDAP 15 Leadership Retreat has been made possible thanks to South Miami High, Haitian Baptist Emmanuel Church, under the leadership of Pastor Anthony Martin, Goose Urology, practice of Dr. Angela Goose, Primary Medical Care Center, and most definitely FPNL. Remember, strong partnership builds strong communities.
them, yeah.